Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Let's try that again. Wrong button. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of Step Into the Paranormal.
Man, we got it right.
Got it right this time. You don't want to know how much math that took. But first of all, thank you for taking your Sunday evening on a Mother's Day evening for joining us. To all those mothers out there, we love you. Thank you for all you do. Let me start the show by I want to send out condolences to the family of Fast Jimmy from WBFF Fox 45 News. Everybody knows him as Traffic Jam Jimmy. Apparently, he passed away yesterday of a massive heart attack. Rest in peace, brother. We'll miss you.
It's not going to be the same watching without.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I met him a couple years ago. Really nice guy. And I've known who he was since Captain Chesapeake.
Yeah, for you
when
local,
I was a kid.
For you local people, if you're not familiar with who Jimmy was, if you remember the Captain Chesapeake show, he was Monday the
Sea Monster. Monday the Sea Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But want to give just a couple real quick special Mother's Day shout outs, of course, to Ruby and to my mother-in-law, who is no longer with us. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And a very special shout out on Mother's Day to my Aunt Janice. And thank you for the kind words you said about me this morning. I really appreciate it. And there's a birthday in the house today. Well, not in the house, but in the house today.
Our brother.
My friend, my dear old, and I don't mean old because you're older than me.
He's old
friend, Larry Walker.
Happy birthday, brother.
Everyone that knows us knows Larry. He comes to a lot of our events. He actually came out and supported me on Friday. Thank you, Larry. And hope you have an amazing birthday.
Absolutely.
Today.
Hi, Ted. Ted joined us.
Hey, Ted.
So we have a very special guest.
Very special guest.
So we got something going on in 2 weeks. What do we got going on in 2 weeks?
It's under 2 weeks, man.
Under 2 weeks.
We got the first annual. It was originally set for 2020, but we know what killed that. The Strasburg Paravation event in Strasburg, Virginia, from May 20th through the 22nd. And this special lady that we're about to bring in, Miss Jennifer Kennedy, she is the founder and organizer of this amazing event that we're all going to be.
How you doing?
Hey.
You bring your mic a little closer to your mouth.
There.
Does that work now?
Yep, you're a little muffled, but we got you. There you go.
Okay.
How you doing, Jennifer?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
You know,
her mic is not.
Give us 1 second, Jennifer.
Let me see if I can clear that up. Can you bring the mic a little bit closer to your mouth?
Might be better without
it. Talk to me again.
That's
a little better. Yep, give that a try and see that if we don't, people let us know real quick in the stream.
Okay, I have another headset I can try, but I don't know how well it's going to work.
Yeah, I think you were going to have to try the other one.
Okay.
You sounded better without.
Yeah, you sounded better without it, but let's see what happens. But she's getting a lot of feedback, so let's see.
Ted, what did he say? You all coming up this summer for a weekend? It depends, man. Are you going to have pizza? If you have pizza,
pizza, we're there.
We're there.
All right. Can you hear me?
There you go. That's a lot better. There you go. Now we got show.
Man, that one sounds
a lot better.
Yeah, it's the other one's my old gaming headset.
Yeah, that one sounds
a lot better.
Yeah, that sounds real good. Jennifer, how you doing, dear?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing well.
We're making it. It's been a long week.
It's been a weird week.
We're getting in that phase now. Like Dave and I were just talking before we went on air here, that we're starting to get that pre-anticipation, not jitters, but excitement about the event. We've really been looking forward to this event. And we were heartbroken when it had to be postponed because of the pandemic. And when you came up to us in Gettysburg last year and told us it was back on, man, we were just so excited. we can't wait to get back down that way and see everyone that we know from down that area, and it's going to be amazing. And from what I hear, from what I'm reading, what you're telling me, we got a lot of people coming from all over, not just down that way.
Yes, yes. I have several people who are flying in.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Leonard is going to be there. He's coming up from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
The Foxes, I know they're flying in. I can't remember from where though.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I spoke briefly with Jeremy. I believe it was last week. We were talking about the event, and it's actually it'll be Dave. I mean, Dave and I are friends with Jeremy, but through Mike King, of course. But it'll be our first time actually meeting him in person. So even though we've been friends with him, chatting with him for years. Wow, it's going to be great to meet him.
Absolutely.
And one of hey, I was so happy to hear this, man. You have one of our dearest friends from upstate New York coming down to join us.
Which one is that?
Christopher. Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Yes. He's driving.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's making the drive. I'm really happy about him being able to come, because when I was planning it in 2020, he wasn't going to be able to make it.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to have him.
Because we were just with Chris last month when we were all up in Rochester for the Parafest, and he's such a funny guy, man. I mean, he's so amazing in his story, and it's just a lot of people may have saw him on different shows on the Travel Channel, and he's known as the Ghost Boy of Geneseo. So he's one of the speakers, right?
Yes, he's one of the speakers. He's going to be telling about his experience, and he's just a really positive attitude, like a really fun energy to be around.
It's a funny story. It was the last day of Parafest, and Dave and we were at the far end of the room up against the back wall, and Chris was set up in one of the aisles, and they were doing like the silent auction or whatever, and then they started like auctioning off our books and stuff like that. And Dave's yelling, hey Ernie, raise your hand. And I'm thinking I'm gonna put my hand up, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be like, yeah, and Ernie bids $100. I thought it was a setup. So I'm like kind of leery, and I'm waving my hand. Well, Chris didn't see where we were at or whatever, and he comes back and he's like, hey man, can I borrow a Sharpie? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, someone wants my autograph. But he's a character, man. All that whole crew from up like the New England, upstate New York area, man, they're just a bunch of great people. And
absolutely.
So Jennifer, give everybody, I know there's going to be a lot of people tuning in, if not live, watching this later, that's excited to hear about the Paravation event. So please
tell them where it's at, when it's at, how it's at, what's going on.
Tell us anything and everything that you need to get out there about it.
Okay, so the Paravation, the Strasburg Historical Paravation, is being held at Hubbs Hill Battlefield in Strasburg, Virginia. And it is on May 20th. The VIP party is actually on the 20th, and the main event is on the 21st and 22nd. It is a charity event to raise money for the historic Heater House. And the Heater House is kind of up the road from where it's located. It is over 270 years old, and it's in pretty bad disrepair, but at the same time, it's got some really good bones and some really neat original architectural features, such as the original plaster, the limestone and hair plaster. Back in those days, in the 1700s, they mixed hair with plaster for insulation.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures that I plan on posting on the website. I was able to get my own personal tour back in 2020. Right now it's closed to the public, so I do want to ask, please do not go up and try and sneak in. There will be police checking on it during the weekend of the event. It's just not safe. It's got a lot of water damage on one side of the house, but it's a really cool historic house. And the sorry, my cat is sneezing. The Cedar Creek Battlefield Foundation is the people who own the house, and they are working on doing research and studies on it. They just recently got the first report back for it. They're going to be doing probably in a few years some archaeology on it and working to restore it. And this specific year, we are raising money to replace the windows and the windowsills. They actually just lost another window this past winter. They're trying to get some restorations like that done as they're studying it, just to try and prevent any more damage. But yeah, all of the ticket sales, the vendor tables, everything, all of that money is going to the heater house.
And you're going to have like a silent auction type thing?
Yes, we are going to have speakers. There's a full day of speakers on Saturday and Sunday. And sorry, my cat keeps rubbing against my laptop, so it's bouncing the camera. Full day of speakers Saturday and Sunday. The VIP party is Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and that is in the banquet room at the Ramada Inn, which is directly across the street from the event.
Where we
And
are.
yeah, there's going to be a DJ at the VIP party and food and refreshments there.
Nice.
And DJ dancing. I actually know the DJ. I've known her for decades, and she's awesome. Her name is DJ Sunny.
Well, what we're going to do, I just came up with a brilliant idea to raise money.
Oh.
Since you're having a DJ and you said it's going to be dancing, we're going to have Dave start off in his Speedo dancing. What we're going to do is
we're trying to make money.
Wait a minute. You let me finish. We're going to do this in reverse. Every time someone donates $1 to his Speedo, we're going to have him put an article of clothing.
No,
back
that'll
on.
be $100. $100 fully donatable. And yeah, I do that.
But I got a little bit of a surprise for the auction. When you and I were talking about that, of course, we're going to donate some Paranormal Inc. stuff, and I'm going to throw a copy of my book in there. But also, adding to the little bundle provided by Dave and I, my editor just published her 8th book, and it's a children's book. So I'm going to be donating. It's a really cool book for kids too, man. It's got the little spooky going on, but nothing. You know what I mean? It's a great children's book, and I'm going to throw that copy of that in there in the bundle that we're donating for the auction. So.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm taking donations from the vendors. The Cedar Creek Battlefield Foundation is also going to be putting together some gift baskets, some artwork, a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be doing a silent auction and another like raffle where you'll get to buy tickets for specific items. My store, I own a metaphysical shop, and which is the sponsor of the event. My shop will be donating items as well, different metaphysical items.
What kind of items you have in your shop for those that aren't familiar?
I have crystals, candles, incense, basically metaphysical tools for like healing and for spellcraft, a big variety of things like that.
Nice.
Wow. Very good.
Where's your shop located at?
It is at 764 South Main Street in Woodstock, Virginia.
Nice.
It's about 30 minutes or so away from the event itself.
Are you going to be selling items there from your shop? Or
yes.
Because I know you got a lot going on.
Oh, I have a great support network. My paranormal team, Shenandoah Paranormal Watch, they're going to be helping during the event, and I will have a table set up. I have some people who are going to be helping me for the Crystal Cat. The Crystal Cat will have a table there. Shenandoah Paranormal Watch will have a table there, and like I said, they'll be helping with the event, and the Crystal Cat will be selling items as well.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Who and also I wanted to tell you, you did an amazing job on the website.
Thank you.
Every now and then I check it, and for the updates and what have you. And
list the website so that people can find it.
It's paravation.org. That's Paravation, paravation.org.
And I was so surprised because I had no idea, but I forget what I clicked on, but then it was like special event, and I seen a haunted doll, and I'm like, oh shoot, somebody else. No, I didn't know that she listed Sandra. I didn't know it was ours. I thought somebody else. And I clicked on, and there's mine and your mushes on there with Sandra, and I'm like, oh. So
funny part is, as we were down here getting ready for the show, we were listening to footsteps roam around upstairs at the top of my house, and Ernie's like, "Is Grace here?"
It was crazy because we were getting ready to come, because our studio here is in Dave's basement. We have a separate section, and I was upstairs in the restroom, and I thought Dave came back upstairs. I mean, Dave's a heavy walker; he's a big guy, and I heard him, and I was waiting for him to say something. So I come down, and he was in the same spot, and I said, "Were you upstairs?" He said, "No." So Dave's dog lays here with us while we broadcast the show, and I heard the footsteps again.
Well, she was right here,
and his dog Rose actually looked upstairs and then ran up to see what it was. And there's no one up there, man. It was.
I'm like, welcome to my world. That happens all the time here.
Yeah, I honestly, Dave, I thought you come back upstairs like to get your phone or a speaker. Or, it was crarazy.
Yep. So
it was crazy.
That happens all the time. And Sandra, she loves moving to right here on our desk. When you're not looking, the times that I found it, I thought he was squirreling around with me. But yeah, she moves on her own. You hear a kid giggling here every now and then when there's nobody here. Yeah, so it does happen. So,
but Sandra will be with us during the whole event. She'll be out on display, and everyone can come up and see her, and people like taking pictures of her and all that good stuff. So
yeah, there's that. The Sandra's going to be there. Also, the Foxes are bringing a haunted, not really haunted, but a cursed box. And this is actually a pretty cool story. I studied demonology with Jeremy Leonard, and they were in the class with me. And they were working a paranormal case at the time, and they found this box buried on this property. And it had all these weird symbols on it, and they opened it up, and there was a doll inside with a bunch of nails nailed into the chest and a lot of other weird personal items. And it was an old doll. And I'm an occult specialist. I've been studying occult for decades. And I was working with them to help them figure out what it was. I explained to them what it was. It was a curse. And I worked with them to break the curse and to bind the box and get rid of any entities attached to it. And it all went pretty well. And they're going to have that box and the contents at the event to show everybody. And they're going to be speaking to tell the story of it.
Wow, that's very cool. The haunted items things, man. I've always been like, back when I mean, they still re-show them, but when John Zaffis's show, The Haunted Collector, was on, and Brian Cano and the rest of his crew was on there, that was such an amazing show, man. And I got such a kick out of it, because some of the items that they would come across and find and take out of there, and of course, you know, the client would want some sort of resolution from it, so it would be stored in the John's museum. But it was so cool, some of the items they get out of there.
Oh yeah, I mean? Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's funny you were talking about the occult and all that stuff. I know this is a sidetrack, but the other night when Dave and I were at the VFW, I was in the back of I can't think of the guy's name. I was in the back of the room sitting there at the table while Margaret was speaking, and I was signing a book for one of the people there. His name, all I know, his name was Jim, but he kept looking at me and he goes, "Man, them eyes." And I was like, "Huh?" He goes, "Your eyes look like," and you may know who I'm referencing. I can't think of the guy's name, and I know the whole story, but he was, God forgive me, he was the founder of the Church of Satan in California.
Anton LaVey.
Yeah.
Anton LaVey. Yep.
He said that he said that my eyes look just like his. And I'm like, I never really looked at his eyes that in depth, but I thought that when you brought up the occult, that anyway, Now that we've covered paravation, I know you got a hell of a backstory with, this entire field. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jennifer, and how you got into all this.
Okay, before I do that, there's two more things I want to bring up about the paravation real quick.
Sure.
Rick Hayes, he's known as one of the top 25 psychics in the country. He's going to be doing a special connections gallery on Sunday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And those tickets are on sale right now. You can find the link on the website. If you order them ahead of time online, it's $10 off.
Okay.
And there's also the Sisterhood. They're going to be doing something that we've never seen done before. This is the first time they're doing it, but they're doing a Reiki and healing session gallery.
Wow.
Where the tickets are only $10. And a portion of these ticket sales are all going to the Heater House. The gallery, I believe, is 11 or 11:30. I'll have to look at the schedule on Sunday. It's going to be, I believe, an hour long.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the special event that Rick Hayes is doing?
It's a psychic connections gallery to connect with past loved ones.
Wow. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have checked that one out.
Yeah,
myself.
dude, I might, because two of the spirits that I know here in my house are my grandparents. We've had too many people confirm that, too many mediums, and too many things that we've gotten very specific names that I don't tell anybody that came across to show that it's my grandparents.
Well, tell her when you was with, this confirms it beyond a reasonable doubt for me, when you were with Amy Allen.
First of all, I love Amy. Amy, if you're watching, I love you. Yeah, you're like my dream girl. Anyway, whole nother story.
That went in a went in a whole different direction.
No, we went into the New Jersey Paracon, and her line was like God for all day. And then at the very end of the day, I looked down. There was like 3 people left in line, so I scurry down the hallway and jump in. And then one lady jumps in behind me. Now, only thing I have on is a badge that says vendor on one side. You flip it over, it says Haldeman Mansion on the other. And she looks at me and goes, "Hi, David." And she goes, "You have 2 people hanging with you. One guy over here," and then she does her thing, goes into the eye roll thing. She describes my grandmother and grandfather and also my father, who I barely knew. And she just roll my jaw back in. And so she is just an amazing woman. So she told me that they're following me everywhere, and that I have a blue aura, whatever that means, and that spirits are attracted to me, which is why I do what I do. I love her.
What do you do?
Run from you. So
you asked me about myself. I have been interested in the paranormal for a very long time. I saw my first entity when I was like 8 years old. It was out in a field, and it was just a pair of legs.
okay.
I didn't see any other part. It was just a pair of legs walking across the field. I saw my first full body apparition when I was 13 years old. It was a full body woman in period clothing, standing next to the bed, just looking down at me and smiling. Now, I'm a psychic medium. I've had my abilities forever. I remember when I was 5 years old, I used to run up to the telephone right before it would ring and stick my hand on it, ready to answer it.
That's
and
cool.
yeah, when I was 12 years old, I went through a really traumatic event, basically. And when I was around 12 years old, I discovered what all these things that I could do were. I discovered what ESP was and what psychic abilities were. So I went to the school library and I checked out every kind of book I could to learn about them. And I have been honing my abilities ever since. So that it's been like close to 40 years. And I used to do readings back in the early 2000s, and my reputation grew to the point where people were showing up on my doorstep at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I stopped doing readings because I just, I need sleep.
Yeah.
So years later, You can probably hear my cat
I love
crying
it.
in the background.
It sounds like he's like, "Oh, help,
he wants to play with my other cat, and she's just staring at him. She won't play with them. That's what he does when he wants to play, is he cries at them.
That's funny.
But anyways, I developed fibromyalgia in 2012, and I kind of had to totally reinvent myself. And I kind of said to myself, look, I've got these abilities and I'm not putting use to them. I was trying to find some new things to do. And I had been hobby paranormal investigating on my own for years. And I decided to go ahead and try and join a paranormal team. And so I did. And that was in 2017. I've been on a couple different paranormal teams. I have my own team now. So, I mean, that's what led me into the whole paranormal field. Now, on the other side, the historic side, I am currently in college to finish the degree that I started 25 years ago. And that is, I am a triple major in anthropology, specializing in archaeology, and philosophy and history. So that aspect, I've been fascinated and interested in history, historic places, and archaeology since I was like 20, 19. So that's kind of both worlds coming together.
Right.
Nice.
And I'm actually doing an internship for archaeology at a different place called Belgrove Plantation. That is like right next to the heater house. And I'm hoping to be able to work on the archaeology of the heater house in the future. Maybe that's my hope. I don't know if it's going to happen, but
I actually heard of Belgrove Plantation because the reason that sticks out in my mind, the main road going to my house is Belgrove Road. And I don't remember if I saw something or I read something, but it was about Belgrove. And I was like, oh, wow. And I just found that like cool, you know. So, what is Jennifer, what is one of the, whether it's with your current team that you formed or one of your prior teams, what's one of your most memorable investigations?
that would definitely have to be a house that it was a personal residence. And I'm just going to give the city name because it's a big city, in Harrisonburg, Virginia. This house it sits on, hold on, I've got a cat fight.
Ah!
Sorry. This house sits on historic land. And I didn't know the history of the house when I went in. I went in and we actually investigated this house 3 different times. I went in, I did my psychic reading of the house. I came across several different entities there, like several. And our investigations, we picked up some of the most amazing EVPs I've ever heard. Class A, sound like you're in the same room. And I actually had Cody Ray with taps. At the pajama factory, I let him hear a few of them, and he ran them through different types of software. He taught me how to use them to determine if they were human or not. And he was pretty fascinated because the software showed that they weren't human. They were on a totally different decibel level. And but this house, there were so many different EVPs and so many different entities, and it was just a cool house historically. But once I went in and did the historical research for the house, and everything that I had seen, all the entities, Civil War soldiers and stuff, it all lined up. When I was there doing my read, now it was the main house and there was a slave house out back. It was pre-Civil War. And when I was out back, I saw a line of Union soldiers, like a big line of Union soldiers walking across the field, and they had like their heads down. They were all disheveled and they looked defeated. And when I did the historic research, I learned that literally in their backyard was where a specific Civil War battle, I found the old maps and everything, converged right in the backyard, and the Union lost. I saw a specific Union soldier, and I was speaking to the Union soldier. He would not cross over, tried to get him to cross over because he felt immense guilt because when he left for the war, he told his wife that he would return, and he never returned.
Wow.
And he's afraid to face her on the other side, so he would not cross over.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, we had EVPs of women and children. And doing the history, looking at the history of the house, I went through looking at all the deeds, and come to find out the house has been in the exact same family ever since the land was taken, basically.
Oh, wow.
It's still to this day in the same family.
And what town was this? You said
Harrisonburg, Virginia.
I've never heard of that.
It's actually like about an hour south of where I live.
Huh.
But I saw Revolutionary War soldiers there. I actually saw a specific type of uniform that I was not like the normal Revolutionary War uniforms, and I went and did some digging to look for the uniforms, and I discovered that the uniform that I saw this soldier wearing was a Brigadoon uniform. And come to find out in the family history, they had a family member that was in the Brigadoons.
Oh, wow.
It was such a cool case because the personal experiences and the EVPs and the things that we caught, the evidence, everything just lined up, not just with what I experienced as a psychic, but historically as well. There's a child's voice that kept seeing and hearing a child there. Come to find out, there was a 3-year-old child in the family back in the pre-Civil War part that had passed away.
Oh, wow.
And it lined up with the size and everything of the child that they
That's
were
the
seeing.
kind of stuff when it starts lining up like that. I just love. That's the part I love about ghost hunting. Really, for real.
I know, because when it gets like I had back in 2008, I captured a photo at a specific location during the day in Gettysburg, and it appeared to be a soldier leaning on a rock, looked like he was looking up a hill. And I mean, it was clear as day. I mean, so anyway, I knew a friend of mine, he's since passed away. He was like the encyclopedia on Civil War. Like this guy knew everything about every location, everything. So I was telling him about the photo, and I took it in and showed him one night. And the photo that I captured, the uniform that this apparent apparition was wearing was the same colors and style of hats that the troop from whatever state took over that location of that hill. So he confirmed that the picture did look like a uniform of a soldier that's troop took over that hill. So I was like, well, and I had no idea. I was just happy that I
got a photo.
Something. Yeah. So
it's so cool when things like that line up.
Yeah. That's why, like when we do a lot of residential cases, I mean, we want kind of like the nuts and bolts of the case, but not too specific. You know what I mean? Because we don't like having like our
biases when you go in.
That's right.
Yeah, and we don't want our mind muddied up or clouded, because even if like a certain name or whatever isn't on the tip of our tongue at the time, it's still, embedded in our brain somewhere. That's why we like to just your very vague, information, just a little this or that we need to get started.
But sometimes when you have that information, I've seen investigators who go in and they only focus on that information. They only ask questions about that specific person or that specific situation, and they're not open to any other ideas or concepts.
And see, if we would have been that way when we did the remember the guy thought a demon or something was
right
in
the demon house, right?
That we had a case just take a 180-degree turn on us. And it was nothing at all what the client thought it was. The client
thought that there was a demon in his house, which there wasn't. It turned out it was his roommate just trying to get him to leave the house because she wanted the house by herself. But during the investigation, it came full circle. We got a name through a spirit box. As soon as the guy heard it, he jumps up, runs out of the room.
First and last name, actually.
First and last name of we didn't know who it was. And this guy went and literally scurried out of the room, comes back with the deed from before him saying, and the guy's name was on it.
Yeah. So we came to the conclusion, Jennifer, that since this roommate was trying to trick him into thinking something was there to scare him, that the previous owner of the house had some sort of liking or attachment to this kid and was warning him about what was going on.
Yeah.
So it, if we'd have known a little too much,
we wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
it
wouldn't have been as, such a great reveal when we figured it out. So
I recently closed the case like that. It did a complete 180. Complete similar to that, but it actually turned out to be demonic. And this case, it was really interesting because it didn't follow your typical demonic. It was very hard to detect. I wound up making a total of 9 visits to this home over a period of, I started November last year, December, January, February, March. I just wrapped it up in April. So, a total of like 9 visits. And when I went in originally, a lot of times I like to just do a preliminary. I'll go in with just the basic equipment, like a K2 meter and a spirit box and EVP recorder. Take some base reads with the K2, some base reads with the temperature, and just stay for a couple hours. Just do short little EVP sessions, do a client interview, and then see what I get, and kind of go from there. Determine, okay, this is enough to kind of figure out where we're headed if I want to do a full investigation. And this one at first seemed pretty cut and dry. It was a house that had never been owned by anybody else. It was a single owner home until she bought it. The owner had passed away, not in the house, but he had passed away. And the owner was the person who built the house. And some of the furniture had been left behind. She was using it. She got it with the house. And so she was having items appear in the house. And there were items that the previous owner had used, like a spool of thread. Nobody in her house sews or anything like that. And it was a specific type of spool of thread that the previous owner had used in a hobby. She had a couple other little things like that, like barber scissors just show up. So, usually in a demonic case, you're going to see coins or like a lot of the same thing. Coins are pretty common. I had one demonic case where the socks, just old socks, kept showing up. So usually you don't see things like that.
Right.
And when we did the EVP session, the spirit box session, we were asking questions, kind of a variety. But we started getting responses that went along the lines of the previous owner. And then we kind of stuck to that, the previous owner. And some of the responses were like, hey, are you in the military? And the response was yes. And we asked what branch, and the response was the Navy. And so we went and we kind of looked that up and discovered, okay, yes, he had, because we didn't know at the time if he was in the military. And we went up and looked his obituary up, and come to find out the previous owner was in the Navy. So, initially it looked like, okay, this is just a previous owner and he's, hanging out because it's his old house. He lived here for 30 years and he's attached to the furniture. But when I went home and I reviewed the hour-long spirit box and EVP session, the first 30 minutes alone, there were over 24 EVPs, most of them Class A EVPs.
Now, we've got a quick question. Why would socks be demonic?
Right. The socks specifically aren't demonic, but usually, not usually, but in a lot of demonic cases, you'll see items just appear that weren't there before. It's when it's a specific item, it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's usually the same thing coming up repeatedly. And often it'll be rocks. It could be something as simple as pencils. It's not the item that's demonic. It's just that it's a specific kind of item that shows up repeatedly over and over that wasn't there to begin with. And it just so happened that one case, it was old socks. Just these old socks just kept appearing, and like children's socks, adult socks, and they weren't hers. They weren't the clients.
Is there any significance between the client and an item that may show up, or is it just random because
It's
it's
random.
okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
But back to the case, I thought it was the owner. Oh, I had listened just to the first 30 minutes. I had over 2 dozen EVPs. I've never, ever, even when I was hobby ghost hunting, I've never, I mean, you're lucky to get one EVP in an 8-hour night.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, this is a travel point of something. They're coming from somewhere because you just don't get this. I got multiple men, women, children, names.
Wow.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it the same person or a few people in all the, or was
It was a lot of different people.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also, my daughter's name came up, my ex-husband's name came up, and they weren't present. So I had the 2 relatives of the woman, of the client, their names came up, and a lot of different names that we didn't recognize. I mean, it was a lot, and I was like, wait a minute, pump the brakes. I need to figure out what's going on here, because it's just not normal to get that many EVPs, especially in 30 minutes.
Right.
And I went back and I talked to her, explained to her, I let her hear some of the EVPs, and she recognized one of the voices as her grandmother.
Wow.
But I told her, like, look, initially I was going to do a crossing over and, wrap the case up. And I told her there's something else going on here. There's got to be a portal here, or some sort of travel point.
Mm.
So I went back another time, set up a time, and I checked the whole property for portals, and I couldn't find one.
Okay.
So I set up an investigation, a full-blown investigation. And I was talking with Melody Brooke, who's also going to be at the Paravation.
Nice.
She was initially going to come help with the investigation, but she wound up not being able to. But she told me, you need to check the mirrors. So when I did the full investigation, I checked the mirrors, and come to find out, in the primary room that was experiencing the activity, there was indeed a portal. It was a closet. The whole entire closet door was a mirror. Those old 80s style closet doors.
Okay.
It was all a mirror, and there was a portal on it.
Yeah, Melody's amazing. She helped us. We called Melody and Ray in, I guess it was like a year and a half ago.
During the winter time.
Yeah, Mike King had brought us a case down in West Virginia, and we knew that it was going to require some of the things that Melody, is capable of doing. Yep. And she's just amazing, her and Ray. And it's always such a pleasure when we do things like that together. I actually spoke to Melody yesterday, so everyone's so excited about this.
Oh
event.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, she's going to actually be leading the paranormal investigation. That I forgot to mention that there is going to be
I was just ready. Jennifer, that's just what I was getting ready. That's where I was leading with this. I was going to say, because you're talking about the investigations, and I was like, let everyone know about the investigation there.
Yeah, at the Paravation event, there's going to be a public investigation of the Hups Hill battlefield, which is haunted. I'm not going to give any information. I already know some of the information about it. There is definitely a resident spirit, and they've had reports dating back to the 80s. They were actually featured on a TV show back in the 80s for the haunting. But there's going to be a public investigation. Tickets are $50, and we're splitting everybody up in 2 groups. And one group is going to be led by Steve Dills from Ghost Finders and Melody Brooke. And the other group is going to be led by Jeremy Leonard and myself and John and Debbie Covey.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah, Steve, I talked to Steve about a week or 2 ago. He's up there with Dan Class. He's like I said, I keep saying the same thing, but everybody I talked to is so excited.
Yeah.
We've been looking forward to this for so long.
I keep going in my head every day, like, is there something I forgot to do? I feel like I should be doing something, and I keep going over. No, I've done everything.
I can't believe it's finally here, man. I got just a few more evenings of work, and then I'm done until we come back. I can't wait.
Yeah, he's like bragging. I got this and this, and then I got 7 days off in the Perimation. I'm like, oh my Lord.
It'll be nice.
And
man.
so far, the weather's supposed to be really nice. It's supposed to be in the mid 70s
Nice.
for
Very
the
good.
weekend. I'm
Very
keeping
good.
an eye on it.
I'm so looking forward to just the variety of vendors that are there. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah,
so much.
I just got another vendor today. I mean, it's being that it's outdoors and indoors, primarily outdoors, because the outdoors, it's on the battlefield. So I have almost an unlimited amount of space. I can put as many vendors in as I want. The indoors, there's going to be a few vendors. You guys are in the indoors. And that's where the speakers are. There's an actual auditorium and everything for the speakers to speak.
I think Jeremy's inside too, right? I think he's like
Yes.
the next room over from
And Mike King is with us.
and Mike's
Yes.
with us, of course.
Yes. When you first enter the building is actually the gift shop and the museum. So when you first enter, you're entering into the gift shop, and you guys and Rebecca Foster are going to be in the gift shop. And then you keep walk past you guys, and you go into the museum. And inside the museum is where the auditorium, where the speakers are going to be. Melody Brooke is going to be in there, Rick Hayes, Jeremy Leonard, Krista Cesare, and John and Debbie Covey are all going to be inside there. And you can walk around and see the Civil War museum in there for free.
Our cameraman John McGinnis is asking how much are the tickets for the Paravation.
Okay, it depends on which things you want. The general admission tickets for just to get in for Saturday and Sunday are $10 for each day. But if you buy tickets ahead of time online, you can get both days for $15. The paranormal investigation is $50. The VIP party is $10. Rick Hayes's Connections Gallery, if you buy tickets in person, it's $50, I believe. And if you buy them online, it's $40. And the Reiki and healing session is $10. Now, if you buy your tickets online, and the links are on the website, you can get discounts. Like I believe there's an all-in-one ticket for $70. And that gives you the general admission for both days and the VIP party and the investigation.
I'm looking forward to the VIP party.
I am too. Now we got a question from Madeline Chaprow. She forgot to ask, do you have an online shop?
Me, myself, or well, the Crystal Cat is online. We do have an online website. Everything that's in my store is on the website, and that's at thecrystalcatonline.com. And then I have my own personal psychic website. It's psychicjenkennedy.com.
Nice. Very good. Well, we've got a little bit of follow-up to do at the end of the show, but we appreciate you being on with us, and thank you. We will see you in like a week and a half.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer, I'm sure I'll speak to you prior, but if I don't speak to you, Dave and I are arriving early on Friday. I may get there a little bit earlier than Dave. So I will hit you up as soon as we get into town and get checked in. And I'm just happy that the VIP party is where we're staying at.
Yeah. I tried to keep everything centralized so you don't have to travel around much.
That's so cool because when Dave unloads my car to set everything up Saturday, he doesn't have far to walk, just across the street.
Yep. And I was very fortunate that the Ramada Inn was happy to be a sponsor and provide the hotel room block and the banquet room.
I called to make the reservations for Dave and I, and the lady I spoke with, she like knew everything about it and was like, she sounded more excited than I was. And I was like, oh,
everybody in the area that is very excited. The town of Strasburg, I've been very fortunate. Everybody's just been completely on board and super excited about the whole event. And that's why I said, as long as it's a success and nothing goes terribly disastrous, everybody wants to keep it going on annually.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And for those watching that are attending, we will be speaking at 12 noon on Sunday. So you'll get to hear me babble just a little bit more.
I'm the guy behind the scenes. I do this.
Jennifer, thank you for taking an hour out of Mother's Day to spend with Dave and I. And
thank you for having me.
To you and to everyone out there. And we will be in touch, and we will see you in a little over a week.
Yeah, amen.
Awesome. See you guys then.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
I got to give a shout out to a first time viewer, Daryl Birch. I used to work with him at Data Prize 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
He used to be my manager.
What's up, Daryl?
Daryl, thanks for joining us, bro. So thank you guys, all of you, for joining us on this Mother's Day.
He just sent a message. He said that the only reason he tuned in is because you owe him money.
This is a bull.
Oh,
So
man.
thank you guys.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Thank you for
Thank you.
tuning in. And make sure you come down and see all of us at the Paravation event May 20 through 22nd, Strasburg, Virginia. If you need any information whatsoever, check out the website, paravation.org, or just contact Dave or I, and we'll get you there.
Definitely. Guys, thank you guys. Love you. Stay with us along the way. We'll see you.
Bye.
You've been listening to Step into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.